Remember all those drone sightings over the Northeast?
Yeah, the ones that had everyone talking.
Well, buckle up.
It gets even more interesting.
We started with thousands of reports coming in.
From New Jersey.
New York.
And the surrounding states.
It was enough to trigger a full-blown FBI investigation.
And that's where things take a turn, don't you think?
No, absolutely.
Out of all those thousands of reports,
Thousands.
only a tiny fraction, like 100,
Wow.
actually needed a closer look from the FBI.
Yeah. To add to the mystery,
Right.
even President Trump hinted
Oh, yeah.
that the government might be holding back information. It felt like we were on the verge of
Like some kind of
a big reveal.
big conspiracy.
Almost like something out of the X-Files.
It definitely captured the public's imagination.
You know, and for good reason.
Exactly.
The idea of these
Unidentified object
unidentified objects
in our airspace.
is unsettling, to say the least.
It is.
And that's where Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill comes in.
She does.
A military veteran herself
Right.
took this situation very seriously,
Uh-huh.
attended those government briefings,
She did.
and she even pushed for more transparency from the agencies involved.
Before we get into her findings,
Okay.
I want to remind everybody,
Yes.
if you're liking this,
Yes.
finding it insightful,
Uh-huh.
make sure you hit that subscribe button.
We'd love to have you along
For more.
for the ride.
Yep.
Okay, so let's unpack those initial days of the drone sightings.
The very beginning.
Can you paint a picture
Oh, yeah.
of what the public reaction was like?
Imagine this. You're going about your day.
Mhm.
Maybe you're walking the dog or you're having coffee on the porch.
Right.
And you see something unusual in the sky.
Up there.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Nope.
What is it?
It's a drone.
A drone.
And not just any drone, one that seems to be operating
But no,
without a clear purpose
yeah.
or origin.
People were confused.
Very confused.
and concerned.
And for good reason.
I remember reading articles at the time.
Oh, I bet.
There was a lot of speculation.
What were they doing?
Were these drones hostile? Were they spying on us?
Right.
Some people even joked, or maybe half joked,
Maybe.
that it was an alien invasion.
That's always the go-to. It's aliens.
It's always aliens.
And that's exactly the kind of speculation
Right.
that can run wild.
When there's a lack of
When nobody knows what's going on.
clear information.
Right.
So how did Congresswoman Sherrill's involvement start to,
Provide some clarity.
bring some clarity to the situation?
One of the things she pointed out
Okay.
was that New Jersey's airspace
Okay.
is incredibly congested.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, think about it. You've
Yeah.
got countless planes,
Okay.
helicopters,
Sure.
authorized drones,
All operating.
all operating on a daily basis.
So she was suggesting that a lot of these drone sightings
A lot of them.
could have been something else entirely.
Exactly. People might have been misidentifying familiar objects like
yeah.
planes and helicopters
Because they weren't.
because they're not familiar with drones.
Right.
Maybe the lighting was bad. Maybe they were far away.
Yeah.
It's easy to jump to conclusions when you don't know
When you don't know what you're looking at.
what you're looking at.
I know, I probably would.
Probably.
But were there any concrete steps taken to address this issue?
There were
Beyond just that,
explaining away
saying, oh, you just saw the wrong thing.
the possible misidentifications.
The government actually implemented new radar systems
Interesting.
that were specifically designed to track drones
Okay. What makes those systems different?
from traditional radar.
Yeah.
Well, traditional radar is designed
Okay.
to detect larger aircraft.
Right.
So these new systems are much more sensitive,
Oh, okay.
and they can pick up smaller objects,
Like drones.
like drones,
So they were able to get a much clearer picture of what was actually happening up there.
of what was actually happening
The airspace.
in the airspace.
Yeah.
They also started using sophisticated software to analyze flight patterns, which helped them distinguish between
Oh, the good guys.
authorized drone operations
And the bad guys.
and those that were suspicious.
Exactly.
This technology reassured the public, but it also,
It made identification much more accurate.
it sounds like they were taking this situation seriously,
Yeah, they were.
making some real efforts
Real efforts.
to get a handle on it.
And I think that's an important point.
Yeah.
Even if some sightings were just misidentifications,
right.
the government recognized the potential danger,
The what ifs.
the what ifs of these unidentified drones.
Right.
And they took steps to improve tracking and analysis.
But even with all these advancements
Yeah.
and these explanations,
Congresswoman Sherrill still had some concerns.
she did. And that brings us to a really important point.
Oh.
The issue of communication.
Communication. That's right. She pointed out a real lack of clear communication, not just between those different government agencies, but also to the public.
You know, it makes you think.
It does.
Even if the authorities have a handle on the situation, if they're not communicating it well, it's so easy for rumors and anxiety to spread.
Exactly.
It's almost like a vacuum of information.
Yeah.
Breeds mistrust.
100%. And that lack of transparency can even hinder investigations.
How so?
Because if people don't know who to report to or what information is important, then it's harder to separate real concerns from those misidentifications.
So were there any specific consequences to this breakdown in communication? Was it just public perception?
It was more than that.
Or were there real-world impacts?
Oh, yeah, there were some tangible consequences.
Like what?
For example, several military bases had to temporarily shut down because of drones interfering with flight paths.
That's serious.
It is.
It's one thing to see a mysterious light.
Right.
But it's another when it directly impacts critical operations like that.
Exactly. It really highlights how important it is to have clear protocols and those communication channels in place.
Right.
We can't just dismiss these sightings as, harmless curiosities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So where does that leave us?
Well, Congresswoman Cheryl, she was calling for a much more concrete plan moving forward.
To better handle.
Yeah, to better handle these kind of situations.
To similar situations in the future.
Yes, and for good reason.
She emphasized the need for better cooperation between
all those government agencies.
All the agencies involved.
You've got the FAA, the FBI, the Department of Defense.
Wow.
Maybe even local law enforcement.
That's a lot of different players.
It is.
It sounds like it could get really confusing.
Oh, it does.
If they're not all on the same page.
It could be a recipe for disaster. And just as crucial is the need for transparency with the public.
People deserve to know.
Absolutely.
In their airspace.
And clear, accurate information.
It can go a long way.
In preventing unfounded fears.
And rumors.
I'm curious to hear from you all listening.
Me too.
Have you ever seen something in the sky that you couldn't identify?
A strange light.
A strange light or unusual object.
Let us know.
Let us know in the comments.
And if you're enjoying this conversation.
Yes.
And finding this breakdown helpful.
Give us a like.
Don't forget to give us a like.
Those are great questions to consider.
They are.
It's a good reminder that there's still so much we don't know about.
What's happening.
That's happening above us.
Up there.
So after all this investigation and analysis, where do things stand with the drone sightings?
Well, we've learned a lot.
Yeah.
But there are still some lingering questions.
What about those unexplained sightings?
That couldn't be attributed to misidentification.
Right.
Or authorized drones.
What about those?
Is there more to the story?
That is the million-dollar question.
Isn't it?
And it's one that continues to fascinate.
Researchers, policymakers.
The public.
Yeah, the public alike.
Despite all our advancements.
In technology.
Yes.
And in understanding the world.
We're still confronted with mysteries.
Wow.
That we can't easily explain.
It's like a real-life X-Files episode.
I was just thinking that.
Unfolding right above us.
And it speaks to something so fundamental.
What's that?
The human fascination with the unknown.
Yeah.
We are curious by nature.
We are.
And when we can't explain something, our imaginations run wild.
Mine definitely does.
I bet.
Even if some of those sightings were eventually explained away, the fact that the government took it so seriously that they implemented new trackable systems, invested in advanced analysis tools.
That says something.
That is telling.
It really is.
It suggests that they recognize the potential implications.
Whether they're related to
of drones,
Shakir.
Of unidentified drones in our airspace.
Primacy.
Or simply the need to maintain order in this increasingly complex technological landscape
we live in.
So while we might not have all the answers,
not yet,
this whole saga has served as a wake-up call, wouldn't you say?
100%. It reminds us that we live in a world where technology is rapidly evolving.
And we need to adapt.
We need to adapt our systems, our policy.
Our thinking.
Yeah, our thinking to keep up.
And perhaps most importantly, it underscores the need for
open communication?
Open communication and transparency.
With the government.
From our government.
And within our communities.
We're all in this together.
We are.
Trying to make sense of a world that is becoming more and more complex every day.
I agree.
It makes you wonder what's next.
Doesn't it?
as technology keeps advancing,
yeah,
are we going to see more of these
unexplained events,
unexplained phenomena?
It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
It raises a lot of questions.
It does.
About how we respond.
As a society.
As a society, yeah.
Will we become more cautious,
more skeptical,
or will our curiosity push us to
find those answers?
Find the answers even when they're
elusive.
Hard to find.
It's a real dilemma.
It is. And
we're all a part of it.
We all have a stake in this.
Whether we realize it or not.
Absolutely.
We can't just leave it to the experts.
Right.
To figure it all out.
Yeah.
We all need to be part of the conversation.
We do.
Share our perspectives. Be open to challenging
assumptions.
Our assumptions.
Because at the end of the day,
it's not just about drones.
Yeah.
It's not just about the drone
It's not just about those unidentified objects.
In the sky.
It's about how we approach anything we don't know. The unknown.
The unknown.
How we deal with uncertainty and how we build trust.
And understanding.
In a world that is constantly changing.
You said it perfectly.
It's about fostering a sense of shared inquiry.
I like that.
A willingness to embrace the mystery.
Even when it makes us uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Even when it's a little scary.
Well, if you're enjoying this exploration of the unknown and you're finding value in these conversations, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes.
We love having you along.
We're always diving into new and intriguing topics.
We are.
And we'd love for you to join us on that journey.
And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to give us a like.
Your support helps us reach more curious minds like yours.
Like you.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into those mysterious drone sightings, we're left with
more questions than answers.
More questions than answers.
But maybe that's okay.
Maybe that's the best part.
Maybe that's the exciting part.
It's a powerful force.
It is.
The unknown.
The unknown.
It can inspire us to learn to explore.
To keep searching for the truth.
To keep seeking the truth even when it's just
out of reach.
Just beyond our grasp.